We are all natural-born storytellers, whether you think of yourself that way or not. The stories that mold and shape our lives oftentimes become foundational parts of our growth, healing, and even generational experiences. Welcome to Awaken Your Soul Sunday, a storytelling series that shares the moments of awakening, trials and tribulations, truth, and vulnerability in the words and voice of the featured storyteller. And now, a life-changing story from this week's guest.
Hi, I'm Harvey, and I'm a women's money and empowerment coach. Although I wasn't always, today I want to share with you a powerful turning point for me in my money story where I really learned what money meant in my life, and I learned how to switch from having a dysfunctional, disempowered relationship to money to learning how to actually develop the skills that I needed to fuel the life that was closest to my heart and true to myself. I started out my career as a civil and environmental engineer, and I was lucky enough to go straight out of uni into a really well-paying job. So I was actually earning a six-figure salary straight out of university. And after my first year of earning this salary, I realized that at the end of the year, I actually didn't really have any more money in my bank account than when I started the job, which was starting after 4 years of living as a student and a full-time student doing engineering. So you are at uni 9 to 5. It's not a lot of extra time for working. And I realized I didn't have any extra money left over. And I was wondering, what the hell is that about? Over the next 12 months, I actually set up a system to automatically have a portion of my paycheck going into different savings accounts for different purposes. And this really helped. Over this next 12 months, I actually managed to save $40,000 by doing this, which was a really massive difference. At this point in my journey, I was fully aware that engineering and working in the way that I was in the industry I wasn't what I wanted to continue to do. And I wanted to explore myself and what my true passion was, what I really wanted to be doing. I had started to get into personal development and spiritual development, and I had started a raw food business. I didn't want to continue with that, but I started to get these tastes of doing something I was really passionate about and something that I really loved. So I resigned from my job, and I moved across the country to Byron Bay, which is this beautiful place where there's a lot of really open-minded people, and it's really an ideal place to go for your self-discovery journey. So off I went, feeling like I had all the time in the world because I had saved up this big amount of money. And as long as I was just following my truth, I wouldn't have to worry about anything. Everything would just work out perfectly fine. When I got to Byron, I absolutely threw myself into doing courses and personal development and trainings and learning to be a coach and starting to coach. And I wasn't changing my spending habits or my lifestyle at all. 6 months into this, I found myself in that terrible position where I had no savings left, no real income yet, or no consistent income. I just started to have some clients, but not with any real consistency, and absolutely no idea what to do. It was one of the most terrifying moments of my life because I had always worked and earned an income. I had always had at least a few $1,000s in my bank account because I'd had to work from quite young for my parents' business. And this was absolutely terrifying. It was not just terrifying because I had run out of money and I had bills to pay. It was also terrifying because it brought into question whether I could do something I loved, whether I could make that financially viable and sustainable. In this moment, I wasn't really sure what to do next. I remember sitting on my couch, just crying my eyes out, almost having a panic attack because I was just feeling so much fear and terror around my survival, money, and what I was doing, what I would have to do, what I was going to do. But it was in this moment that I had the massive realization of how important money is to living the life that I really wanted to doing the purpose work that I really wanted to do. In this moment, I realized that if I didn't sort out my relationship to money, if I didn't sort out how to learn the skills and learn the mindset that would enable me to live off a self-employed income, to generate that income and then also comfortably, sustainably manage it, then I wouldn't be able to live my truth. I wouldn't be able to live my truest expression of myself. I would let fear win and have to go and do something that didn't feel like what I was here to do. So I realized at that moment, wow, how important this is to the purpose-driven life, to the heart-centered life. When we are constantly, I think, bombarded with so many messages around if you are purpose-driven, if you are heart-centered, then the money doesn't matter. The money might not be your main motivation, but the money absolutely does matter. So in this moment, I dedicated myself to working out the money thing, doing whatever it took. I didn't know if I would be able to support myself from doing work I love or if I would have to go back to a job that I didn't want to, but I just knew that I was going to try as hard as I could and do whatever it took to work out this money thing. So I applied myself to money mindset work and to practical how to manage your money, planning and tracking it, and putting my engineering mind to work. I started to build a money management system to myself, and I diligently used this every single day. I started making progress. So first it was just getting $1,000 back in my bank account, actually getting to cover my expenses, then start actually building up a bit of a buffer again. And then after a few more months, it was a couple thousand, and then it was 5,000. And then after 12 months, I managed to get $30,000 back into my bank accounts, my savings accounts, without getting a full-time job and without having a thriving business. I even quit my business at one point because I had been feeling like such a failure about it. But I worked the system. I looked at my mindset. I looked at everything that blocks me from abundance, from financial abundance, and I used a practical system to make those differences. So what did I learn from this? What was so powerful about this process? Well, one of the things was that the practical system that I created, the abundance planner and tracker, was what started off me then actually helping people with money, was that it fully connected money to my values and my goals. So all the ways in which I was spending money and saving money was all in alignment with my values and my goals and where I wanted my money to go to build my most enriching life. I never had a goal of saving $30,000 ever. All I had was these things that I really cared about and choosing to channel money into those things. And I might have had goals for some of those savings accounts, but that was based on what that tangibly would bring to life in my life. What vision would that tangibly bring to life that my heart really cares about? What value does that enable me to live? Does that enable me to give more to others? And that's really important to me, or to educate myself, constantly grow and invest in myself, because that's really important to me. So it was this connecting money to my goals and values and then creating integrity with that. So making sure that is how I used my money and realizing that this was actually a thing of self-care. This was a thing that was enabling me to live my truest, most purposeful, most heart-centered life. I also learned that having an unpredictable income or an income that varies from month to month is a different ball game to a regular paycheck. And so there are different ways to manage your money that still make it really easy to save and make progress towards your personal financial goals. And I learned that it's not about the money. The money's important, but it's about what life the money enables you to live. And this has changed everything for me. This has changed how I come at my work. It's changed how I show up to those uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable money conversations, looking at uncomfortable things within me if there's something that's really not in integrity for me with my finances. As I mentioned, I then had my sister using this system that I created, and then a couple of other friends as well, and everyone was coming back and telling me how it had absolutely changed their lives. And this is what then gradually led me to working with people around money, hence why I do money coaching today. I pray that sharing my story here has served you. If you would like to hear more about my story and my journey and what I've learned with money, amongst other things, I've actually just recently launched a podcast where I'm sharing all of that. My podcast is called Money, Sex, Business, and Awakening. So you can go ahead and type that into your podcast app and find that to hear more of my stories and hear this story if you want to learn more about this specific money story of mine. If you would like to get in touch or you've got any questions, again, about my journey, you can find me on Instagram at alexh.co. Sending you so much love and all the best on your journey.
For more information on this week's guest, visit the episode notes section on mindbizlife.com. And if you'd like to share your story with us, click on the Awaken Your Soul tab on mindbizlife.com and fill out the submission form. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend, and be sure to give the podcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you tune in and turn it up. Join me on Wednesday for more life mastery conversations, but until then, remember, every level of life is an opportunity to grow. Be well, my friend.